everybody. Welcome to Same Table, Pull Up a Chair, episode 6. I am Emma Hobbs.
And I am James Hobbs.
Yeah, how you doing today, Dad?
I am your dad, and I am doing okay. Yeah, I'm doing all right. And then I'm all pumped up. I've been on some phone calls today, and have gotten all pumped up. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk about everything today. So
let's do it.
Gonna get the more energetic old man in this one, I guess. So here we go, right? We're gonna get right on it. So we're gonna do the same format. We're gonna talk some politics, right?
Yeah.
Pull up a chair. Pull up a chair with us.
Yeah.
We invite you at our table. Everyone's welcome at our table.
This video is sponsored by us. We have a Patreon. We are so excited to announce that we have a Patreon that has a lot of amazing benefits, including you get to actually vote on topics, suggest ideas, ask questions that we'll actually answer on the show, and at the end of every episode, you get a shout out by me and my dad. So it is so amazing, and it's only $5 a month. If you want to support us, go to patreon.com/sametable pull up a chair. Thank you for all of the support. Now let's get back to the video. Yeah. And then afterwards, today we're gonna talk about some Reddit stories. Because I've decided, every other episode,
there we go.
Let's do some Reddit stories.
Executive
Good
decision.
Stories, yeah.
Good stories. So I'm happy with that. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot going on in the world.
There
and
is.
We were talking about, let's discuss some of the things happening that everybody's concerned about. How does this apply? How can we take the political philosophies that we've written about and that are in the book and apply that to kind of the broader spectrum of things going on? And I know we can work at two ways. I think you can start with the broader topics, and I'll work you back to how the policies that we want to change can help create the change, the architecture in America that we need to have to prevent the thing from happening. So I know the thing that we were talking about this morning was the war, and it's hard to not think about that when it is in nearly every headline every day. We're either at war or we're not.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's like, yeah. So
it's back and forth. We one day I read the news, right, and we're attacking Iran, and the next day we're at peace, where there's peace negotiations and peace agreements. I've never seen anything like this that goes back and forth. I thought it was one way or the other. I mean, isn't this how the world wars ended? You have people get together and you sign treaties, and then you respect those treaties on both sides, which I think has not happened on both sides.
Yeah.
And then you go forward, right, and rebuild peace in the world, and that is not what's happening. It's like this ongoing war. It's something like we've not seen in a long time. It reminds me of the growing up with Vietnam and seeing that continue on and on and on.
I think lots of people are afraid as well of like a bigger war happening, especially like World War III.
Yeah,
it feels closer every day, and
I think that's true statement.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for your generation, because I grew up in Vietnam, kind of happened, and then it was sort of away, and then we had some time of peace in there, or at least relatively so, compared to what's happened. We've had some greater times of peace. Of course, there was the Iraq War in the 90s, but we had some time of greater peace, and it's never felt like the world is in more chaos and more threat than it has these last few years. And your generation is going to be affected by that. It is going to change politics, because I think it's a time to change for the positive. And, and that's what we're talking about, is how do we architect something that when we're ready for that change and you're ready to support this, that you all can get on board and we can make the changes in this country that we need to make. Yeah. So I know we had specific questions about the war, or how do you feel about it?
Yeah. So I kind of want to get like your kind of like, if you were president, how would you deal with this war in Iran, and how would you deal with, let's go back even further. Hang on. How would you deal with Israel and Palestine?
And maybe this is more of a Gen Z question to a Gen Xer, right? Because I don't want to pretend to represent my whole generation, but I'm certainly a certain type of person, Gen X, from the South, and have certain views on these things. And my views have changed through the years. If you want to go all the way back to Putin and how you would deal with that, it's one-on-one. I think you get face-to-face, you get in rooms, and you have to negotiate and talk things out. Eventually, you've got to shrink these giant meetings, these giant negotiations down to just a couple of people that can make the decisions. And then you get in a room in a neutral location and you hash these things out. And one of the things that I would do when you're in a negotiating position like that is you have to go in with strength. You have to go in with the other side knowing that you are not going to waffle, that what you say you will do. You're going to execute and you're going to follow through on. If you make empty threats, they're just that, they're empty threats. That's not a negotiating tactic, making empty threats or going so far and threatening the worst case scenario when you have no intention of following through on that. That is such a poor negotiating tactic. That is not the art of negotiation. That is the art of failure. And I think we've seen that with the current executive in charge, that is the art of failure. And what I would say if it was me, I sit down face to face like we're doing here, and we have that discussion on a very real topic. And there are things you cannot go into a negotiation without being willing to compromise. You're not going to get everything you want. But what we have to realize is, what are the outcomes we want? When we walk away from here, what is the number one outcome? What's the second thing, the third thing? We're not going to get everything, but we got to get that number one. We know that. So whatever's the most important to us, protecting lives, protecting our country's interest, and then more globally, the world, and creating safety and peace and security for the world is key. Sometimes you do that through peace negotiations. If it gets to the point to where we need to actually take action, it's not threats. And I think that's the mistake that has been made for years now with the current administration, is threats. The threats alone are enough to drive people to action, sometimes just because they're afraid. But do you really get the outcomes you want when people are just doing things because they're afraid of you? I've never seen that work effectively. It doesn't work in business. Any good business person knows that. You can make a lot of threats. Are you really getting the outcomes you want, or are people just telling you what you want to hear? So I've seen that. In fact, I didn't intend to go here, Emma, but we can talk about one thing in the book, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
So there's this concept, and it's in the book. I'm going to call it out. It's called Grello. It's when you are when you are reporting something up the chain, and you're afraid to report bad news, right? You don't want to report that bad things have happened. And this is what happens when you make people afraid. So you give threats. The other side's afraid, whether it's Putin or Russia or countries or businesses. They're going to tell you what you want to hear eventually. Right? They're just gonna nod and tell you, and then they're gonna go do whatever they want. You haven't really achieved anything. So this idea of Grello is that while I worked for one of the largest oil companies in the world, we would send, not me necessarily, but I learned this. I did learn this behavior when I saw it, was you don't send bad news up. Like, that was just known. It's not written down in any policy manual or any employee manual, but everybody knows you don't send bad news up. Instead, when there was something questionable, and they wanted to point out that it was questionable, they would create so instead of green dots and red dots, imagine you have a PowerPoint, right? Mm-hmm. You got green dots and red dots there. So instead of just the green dot, they would take the green dot and slash it in half and make half of it green and half of it yellow. It's really hard to do back then, by the way. You have to zoom in and then try to create this like half green and half yellow. And once you create it, it's like, I'm going to use this one forever. Mm-hmm. And it's called Grello. And so what you're doing is you're not reporting bad news necessarily, right? But you are saying there's something that is bad. So normally you just have it yellow or red, but you never have a yellow or red dot. Like, you just don't report bad news up. Everybody did that, and I'm like, this is insanity. But you don't want to go into a Putin conversation and leave him feeling like he's just going to give you a Grello, right? Like here, yeah, we're going to nod our heads and half do stuff and then go back into what we want. You want real change. You want change that sticks and change that he sticks by. You want to be in a strong position with a strong leader that they know if this leader says things, it's going to get followed through on. It's going to happen. You don't make empty threats, ever. It's ridiculous. Who makes empty threats? Right? Bullies make empty threats. And when you're facing a bully or people know they're facing a bully, they know it, right? Really strong countries, strong people facing a bully, well, they know it's empty threats. They know that you'll partially follow through. You'll do part of it and then pull back, do part of it, then pull back. Constant back and forth. That's not negotiation, especially when people's lives are at stakes. At stake. You have people's lives at stake. You have schools being bombed accidentally. Shouldn't have never happened. Why did it even happen?
Yeah.
The whole thing is contrived. It is fabricated. It is something that should have never happened. There were other ways to deal with things. We're kind of moving on to Iran now, but I'll finish up with Putin. That's the way I would handle him. I don't know if you're surprised by that or...
Not really. I just want to say one thing, and I think maybe our viewers can agree or disagree, but I really think that the way Israel should have handled, Hamas is they shouldn't have just bombed where they are. I feel like that's such a cowardly move. They should have taken their troops, went into Palestine, left the innocent civilians alone, and taken Hamas.
So they did go in.
They did.
They did roll tanks in. They rolled through the streets, but they also bombed.
But they bombed.
Yeah, they did.
That's the point. Who in their right mind bombs?
You know what happened?
Schools.
It was so egregious, and my heart goes out to that. And my first reaction, because I knew if something happens on that personal level, that level of an attack against Israel happens, then you have to have a response. You is carrying people. That was egregious and horrible. But you don't wipe out an entire people because of that. That's barbaric. It is governments that go to war. It is governments and young people that get drafted. Governments draft young people, and they're fighting old men's wars. So it's old men that decide these things, and then they send the young kids off, and not their kids, to do the fighting. One thing, which is not just punishing the actors that did this to you, but what is the root cause of this? What has led this to happen in the first place? If you get to the root cause of these things and start addressing those root causes, whether it's poverty, the conditions, a lack of freedom, address those issues. Because there is a root cause behind every one of those. The root cause behind Israel's response, you start looking at Palestine and the people there and with the conditions they were living in and what they felt as a people. And you have to address that. Go be human. Go be, as you would say, Christian. Go actually follow your religion, whatever it is, because most religions preach some level of tolerance, right? Some level of forgiveness, of understanding. Understand what those people are going through and then help them out with their plight. Now, to be fair, the other side of this is if you're dealing with a culture that says they believe you shouldn't exist, like there are some organizations, some of the other countries that say Israel shouldn't exist at all. Well, they don't have a right to exist. Well, they've said the same thing about Americans. Well, if you don't believe the way we do, you shouldn't exist. That is difficult. That is an entire. So you're possibly dealing with people that say you shouldn't exist, and then what do you do about that? You've got to change minds. You've got to get to them. Education does the best thing in the world for changing minds and bringing people up to a certain level of maturity and a culture up to a certain level of maturity. They understand these things. So it's a nuanced and complicated issue, and it's not as easy as just saying don't go wipe them out. I get it. Shouldn't wipe out an entire country and people in Palestine, right? And should find a better way to do that, a more humane, something that respects humans, women, children, the men that weren't engaged in this, people just trying to live their lives. And they're affected by minorities of people that act out. That was a lot said.
That was a lot. So now my question is, what do you think about the way America is basically reacted to Iran?
Yes.
And what would you do differently? That's a lot to say, but
it's measured responses. It's what is the threat, and then do we have the right response? And then once we pick a direction, go all in on that direction. You can't take half measures on these things, and that's What's occurred is we've bombed a few things. You've chopped off the head of the snake trying to assassinate leaders. It's not going to be effective.
No.
Iran's a country of 85 million people or something.
Yeah.
Their sophistication in Iran, they are not Iraq. They're not Vietnam. They're not Afghanistan. This is a very large country, very sophisticated. They have been playing chess, and a lot of the people on this side have been playing checkers. Right? So Iran gets it. They understand what's at stake. You can't just bomb them back to the Stone Ages, as the saying would go. That's ridiculous. That's not how things work. My concern is for the people.
Yeah, of course.
On both sides that suffer.
Yeah.
The women, the children, the school children, having safety, security. But at the same time, Iran's been a threat in the world. They have supported terrorism in the world. That happens from countries. There are other ways.
That's the government.
There are other ways to deal with it. And again, what I would have done initially is I wouldn't have gotten engaged in this. I would have gone one-on-one, sat down with the leader of Iran, and I would have had this talks, and I had had them ongoing, face to face. Our representatives talking to them. We get together, and then it's quite frankly a no BS conversation of here's where we're at, here's where you're at, and you got to stop it. If I find that you're supporting terrorism, the consequences will be severe. Doesn't mean I'm just going to go bomb cities and bomb schools. Of course not. That's ridiculous. Negotiation works. Pressure tactics work. But if you start backing an animal into a corner, a country into a corner, what are they going to do? They're going to come out. They're going to attack.
Yeah.
You've left them no options.
And it's never the people. It's always the governments who are at war. It's always the governments who decide. It's never.
It is.
The people are innocent. And
yeah,
it's just terrible what's happening.
A lot of good people, and I've seen this. I've traveled extensively, and I will tell you, I've been into some countries where they were less friendly to me and my culture and my lifestyle. But I will tell you, I've shaken hands with sheikhs. I have met people in the Middle East and spent time there, and they were very caring. They asked about me and my family. They understood that I was going through a certain situation back home with my dad passing, and they actually sat down and prayed for me. And I thought it was I took it as a great honor.
Oh yeah,
right. That these people had this wonderful people, and in my travels, the people are fantastic.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's what people coming here during FIFA have seen during the World Cup, right? Like they may not like our government, and in fact we have this monarch in charge in the executive branch, and most of the world has a very strong feeling about that.
Trust me,
very
we
strong
do
negative
too.
feeling. Yeah, and a lot of the country does.
Yeah.
But when they came here, they saw the people.
Yeah.
And they saw that there were good people. Americans are good people, and that came out. That came out big time, during this World Cup matches, and they're getting to actually experience our culture and our people and realize the people are not necessarily the person in charge.
Oh yeah.
That is not necessarily representative.
No.
Speaking of representative, I got one more thing before we jump to fun things.
Yeah.
That was some pretty serious, hardcore
Very
conversations.
Serious, yeah.
I think they need to be had. Tell us your thoughts on this,
Yeah.
on the war, and tell us your thoughts on Iraq. I know that some people will look at it and say, well, you're a bit naive on this. Yeah, you're right. It's nuanced and complex conversation.
Very complex.
But overall, what needs to happen are the outcomes. And it's the same thing, and we'll talk about in the book, is about measuring outcomes. That's really what this comes to. You can do all the talking you want, but adjectives are not action. So you've got to have action in the end. One of the things I wanted to talk about, we'd said early on that we would get into some of the architecture that I wrote about and how the country can start changing. And I think people have heard enough now where they know that we want change in the country. And I want to give you one of the specific changes. What I'd ask you to do is just set aside your disbelief, set aside your biases. Yeah. So can you set aside your bias for a minute?
Yes.
And what you may think this country is. Because a lot of people think, well, everything has to stay the same way. It does not.
No.
We can make changes in this country. It's what this country's for. It is a big experiment. It always has been an experiment. And the experiment needs to continue. So I'm going to read this to you. It's what I wrote. It's the Fourth Amendment that I proposed. So I have several amendments that I'm proposing to the Constitution. And this one is called the House Reapportionment. I call it the Wyoming Rule. So for short. So I'm going to read you some of this text here real quick, and we'll publish this, and you can publish these sections on the site. So the House of Representatives. So we've talked a lot about the Senate and how changes really need to happen in the Senate because it is not representative. The same thing is happening in the House, but at a different scale. So the House of Representatives shall be apportioned among the states according to their respective numbers, with each congressional district containing a number of persons that do not exceed the population of the least populous state as determined by the most recent census. So essentially what I'm saying there is we're gonna add more representatives, but only up to the point that it represents the smallest state. So more about this is the House has been fixed at 435 members since 1929.
Wow.
As the country's population has grown, each representative now roughly serves 760,000 constituents. So one representative, 760,000 people. That's far more than what the founders intended and far more than the representatives of other democracies. The Wyoming rule would expand the House to approximately 570 members. So we're going to add people. Each would represent a serving number of constituents that's equal to Wyoming's population. So we take the smaller state and we say, okay, we're going to serve that number. The larger House would be more representative and more resistant to individual corruption, and it would produce a more proportional electoral college. Now, I think the electoral college should go away completely.
Yeah.
But these are realistic rules to kind of work within the frameworks we currently have. There would be no change to the Senate for this amendment and no change to the amendment ratification formula. This would provide a modest realignment of the electoral college toward larger states as a byproduct, and that needs to happen. Obviously, the larger states are misrepresented.
Yeah.
Unrepresented.
Yeah.
Underrepresented. So district lines, those things would still remain with the states. So that's one of the proposals. We talk about specific blueprints that I've written that lead us to a country that is more representative of its population. Now, the reason this is important and ties into our other conversation is if you have a more representative country, what would happen now?
We'd get more people would be able to.
How does the majority of the country
opinion.
feel right now?
Yeah, exactly.
About the war and about the current executive?
They don't want it, so we wouldn't have the war if we had more.
That's what the indicators are. I see is that a whole large number of people do not like some of the changes that have happened. And we're talking a majority, more than 50%, want changes, are not happy with the current status of the war, not happy with the executive. But that number, we can say a majority in America, but it doesn't matter when we are underrepresented, I should say that right, underrepresented in our Congress. And so this is a proposal, specific amendment proposal for the House of Representatives to grow it in the right ways. And people are like, well, you can't grow things. You can't change it. It's the way it's always been. It's like, well, but when something's not working anymore, then we need
to change it.
Yeah. When your car's not working anymore, you fix it.
Of course.
Right?
When the country isn't working anymore, you fix it.
That's right. You have to fix it. You can limp along for a while, but eventually you have to re-architect it, rebuild it, fix it. And we're not saying dramatic changes. What we're saying is some small changes, some amendments that could make changes would provide overall change to the way the government's being run. Because in this case, you've got a war. Now you've got a Congress that can actually vote on it. They can vote for taking action against the executive, which is way too powerful in this country. So you now have a Congress that can act, that can do more things, that is more representative of the entire population and not just a minority of the population. So I wanted to share that piece of the architecture. Yeah. There's a lot more amendments I've written into the book.
Yeah, we could talk about it on other episodes.
We'll definitely talk about it in other episodes and what this means.
And by the way, his book is not just amendments. He has lots of stories that are very easy to read because I'm going to be honest, I don't really understand most of this stuff because I I have I did take what is it? Government class in high
Yeah,
school,
yeah.
but that all went away.
So
So, but
fair point.
your book frames it in a way that makes it so much easier for me to understand as someone who does not understand this stuff.
So you asked me something else, and I think it's an important point to make about if I were an executive, were the president in this case, the one thing you have to do, and I know this is being an executive at my level even, and having been an executive at higher levels even, you hire good people, right? And then you hire smart people and you listen to those people. So when I say going one-on-one and face-to-face with Putin or with other leaders, yeah, it is me and my authority, but I will have been prepped by the smartest people in our country, you
Yeah.
out there, and you will have come up with the ideas. And as an executive, you're representing that. You don't have to come up with all the ideas. You just got to listen to the smart people in the room.
Ooh.
And that's
True.
really what a leader does. A leader isn't just saying, I'm the smartest person in the room. A leader is the person that knows enough to listen to the smart people.
Yeah.
And that's not done enough.
It
right?
is
What
not.
happens now in the current one is my idea is the best, is the leader. So
Yeah.
we're just going to do what I want to do. No, that's not representative. That does not get you the best results. No. And I can guarantee you this. If we took the smartest people in America right now, the smartest constitutional lawyers, the smartest government politicians, there isn't anything we can't do in this country. And I'm convinced of that. We can find a way around all this and handle all this instead of just saying unilaterally, let's go have a war. Let's just bomb stuff unilaterally.
And would you, because I know that certain administrations only have Democrats or only have Republicans, would you have a mix of both or would it only be Democrats?
Fair question, Emma. So I would have a mix of everybody from every walk, diversity, because we talk about pluralism in the book and having multiple things at once. I mean, the government has to contain, and the smartest executive, you'll know it when you see it. You'll have a president, and he'll have an advisor from both of the major parties on both sides, right? And he'll be listening to them. He will be taking their advice and guidance. He will be working with those leaders. I would have religious leaders, which might surprise you.
Yeah,
I would have religious leaders as part of the government. I would have leaders from all over, LGBTQ plus leaders. We would have a diverse mix of people because what I found, and I've built my teams this way, I have spent decades building teams that were highly diverse. I'm going to talk about a story in the book real quick,
Yeah.
But there's a story that I go into where my cybersecurity team at this one company, we won't mention names, had so much diversity. We had every color in the rainbow on our team. We had age diversity. We had neurodiversity. We had all of this. And I had others asking me how I built a team like that. And it was because I removed bias from the hiring process. I'm aware, as unbiased as I try to be, there are biases that I grew up with, that I have. When you remove that from the hiring process, you open the doors to everyone.
Yeah.
And what I found, there was another team. It was a larger team, also in information technology. They had mostly white men, like 99% white men.
Yeah.
And so when you compare the two teams, it was not that there wasn't diversity out there to be had. It was that bias crept in, and it creeps in at all levels. And they don't find those candidates. And they're always asking, why can't I find those candidates? It's like, they're there. Remove your glasses.
Not looking
right?
hard enough.
And I would hire the best. These were the best people. Don't get me wrong. I didn't just hire diversity. I hired the best people. And what I found from that, though, in building that coalition, that team, was my team was strong.
Oh, yeah.
They could handle many different things. They were highly functioning. They after a few years, they made my job easier because they were so smart. They in the opportunities they were given, they appreciated. They really ran with it, and this highly diverse team was incredible. It was extremely elite. I put it up against any cyber team out there, and I'm proudest of that, of building that. And that's what I would do in the government when you ask me that question.
Yeah.
Because the more diverse we are, the more opinions in the room, the better the outcomes are. Now, don't get me wrong, it's tough. It can be hard, right?
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes I'd have to warn somebody, like, be careful what you said. Did you realize that what you said was a little bit kind of touchy for a person like this? It doesn't mean we went around walking on eggshells. We certainly didn't. But what we said was, we'll forgive each other and we will bring it up if it bothers us. And the whole team felt that.
Yeah.
They felt like they could bring up anything that bothered them. Let me tell you, I've had some strong women work for me. They've gone on to be vice presidents, gone on to high-level executive roles, and I'm glad that I could be a part of their journey. Yeah. They inspired me as much as I hope I inspired them. And what I like to think I do, Emma, is that I really look at people and I see what others don't. Because sometimes you can look at don't judge a book by its cover. You can kind of look at something, and sometimes the smartest people, and what I found is sometimes the smartest and best people don't necessarily have all the same social skills. They're people that maybe don't brag about themselves. So you don't know all this history unless you ask. And so on the surface, to others, it can seem like, oh, this person maybe has less skill or whatever. But what they don't realize is this person, what you're seeing is an inch across, right? There's miles deep.
Yeah.
And what you have to do is take time to get to know people. And many people don't do that. You have to work and take time to get to know people. Understand where they're coming from. Understand their history. If you do this, you'd be surprised what you uncover with people. And the problem is most people don't do this. They look at what's there and then they judge.
Yeah.
And we talked about judging in the last podcast, right?
We did.
Even though I'm very judgmental, I set that aside and we dive deeper into people so that we can understand them. And what I do is I find those gems. I took a lady that was difficult to work with from another team, and even the manager called and said, "You really want her?" Yeah. Yeah. She speaks up. That's fantastic. And what I found was she was amazing. She could handle so much on our team. And she did. As she got more and more responsibility that we gave her, she rose to the occasion. And her outspokenness was an asset. It wasn't a detriment. So I love taking people that other teams say, this person's kind of difficult. And maybe it's because I'm kind of difficult. And I appreciate this. But and the same thing in government. Let's take the difficult people. Let's not back away. I would invite the most conservative of the right and religious. Come, be a part of the cabinet, be a part of the conversation. Let's figure this stuff out together because that's representative of the country. You go build a cabinet that looks just like you?
No.
You've not represented the country.
You need to build a cabinet that looks like the country.
And when I say looks like, not thinks like you, that has the same beliefs as you, then you're not representative.
You're not.
And I believe the opposite happens, that not only you don't stagnate, it's not a barrier. You find ways as that group to overcome things. And if you find ways, the country will find ways.
Wow.
Cheers to that.
Well,
good question.
Yeah. Well, come pull up a chair, everyone.
Come pull up a chair.
Yeah.
Great. All right, we got some fun things to do.
We do.
We need to do that because I've had a hard day and raising my voice a lot.
Oh,
not here, but
yeah.
Hey, what do we got?
All right, so this is a different subreddit than what we usually go on. It is called r/am I overreacting? Am I overreacting? So people basically put on there like, am I overreacting on this story? Or like in my life? So the title is, am I overreacting? My wife's family has been living with us for over 6 months, multiple times.
Okay, so I like to break these down when you talk about them. So wife's family.
Wife's family has been living with us
them
for over 6 months, multiple times.
Over 6 months. So lots of questions here, but
so immediately, what do you think?
Well, how many people?
We'll find out.
How long have they been married?
Ooh.
Yeah, because if you've been married a year and then all of a sudden the family comes, that's different than like you're 20 years into this thing and the family shows up. It's like there's a different set of standards there. I think there's a different way you're going to react.
Yeah. All right. Wife, kid, and I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
3-bedroom, 2-bath. Okay.
When we first met, her mother was living in the basement and kept to herself.
Okay.
Everything was fine until her brother needed a place to stay.
Now the brother's moving in.
That turned into him and his 4 kids and wife living with us.
Oops.
Holy
Oops. Well, we're in a situation now.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
it's one thing to have individuals
Oh, and a dog.
and a dog.
But I love animals, so that's the only positive, honestly. I have been patient with this situation, but the stress of them not paying rent
So
and
they don't
just
pay rent.
general cohabitation issues is causing a rift between my wife and I.
Yeah,
I would like a definitive end date for them leaving.
that's true. That's fair.
We have already agreed to have his two oldest kids live with us, and we will be financially responsible for them.
Good God.
I flipped out and used some colorful language with my wife in private discussing this.
Well, I don't know. I can imagine.
It feels like she is letting them take advantage of us. They know how I feel and avoid dealing with me because I can see how they really are. I want her to see this and stand up for herself, and she says it's temporary and they will be gone soon. Not having an end date, and the brother is an alcoholic, gambling addict
Well,
who will never save unless forced to. I am ready to give up and leave. It is so stressful. I have looked at places to move. We can barely discuss this as a couple without her taking things personally.
yeah.
Yes, I'm in therapy and on medication, and I don't know what to do.
Well, he's taken some steps
That's-
already. Therapy's a good step. I don't know about the medication,
Wow.
but therapy is an important step.
So-
Anytime we find stress in our life, therapy is an important
Oh,
step.
yeah, 100%. I always recommend that to anyone who's struggling.
And I'm going to
Therapy.
say this just right away as my initial reaction, Emma, is when I knew that my mom might need a place, or we were moving to Houston, and my dad was going to pass soon because of cancer, your grandfather, and then I knew she'd be alone, my heart went out, and I was like, well, I was telling my therapist, I'm going to build a place that has an extra room so she can stay. And she looked at me and she said, do you love your wife? I'm like, yeah. She's like, then don't ever let your mom move in, because you're going to choose between your wife and your mom. Now, she knew the history of my mom. She knew some of the issues I'd had that ended up being related to her. I guess we all have some of those, but it hit me because I was like, wait a minute, I'm trying to be nice. But in the back of my head, she's like, no, this is actually not the situation you think it is. Mm-hmm. So that's a difficult one, because we've been through this a number of times on both sides of the equation here. You want to help family out.
Oh, yeah.
You want to provide it. And if it's your kids, like it's you and Riley, y'all always have a spot here. Like we're your parents, right? Like now we may not make it comfortable, especially we downsize and we get something smaller. We're not gonna make it comfortable. And if I'm walking around in just my underwear, that's your problem, not mine. Right? Like
We have to deal
see
with
if you
it.
guys agree with me. Like if she's an adult and he's, hey, dude, I'm doing my thing, you deal with it, you're living with me. The days of being considerate are off. If I've got the TV blaring at midnight, that's your problem. Yeah. Right. So, because it's your place. So if you don't like it, then it'd be like, move out. Right.
Yeah.
Like my time of making it comfortable for you is over. Like this is a place you can come and stay, but we're going to go about our business. And I think that in this case with this particular guy, he's 3-bedroom, and that's a lot of kids to bring. I think he's very fair in asking for a definitive deadline. I will say we've been on the other side of this. Your mom and I needed a place to stay, and thankfully, when we moved to Austin, I got a tech job. In fact, it was the first tech job I had at Dell. And this many years, we're talking many years ago, like 1993. And we needed a place to stay. And they said, yeah, come stay. And I think they thought it was temporary. And we were like, well, why would we want to go anywhere? They lived on the lake. Why would we want to move? We're like, this is pretty nice. Let's stay here. And we were staying in this house next door where these, richer neighbors were there. And they had a house they didn't use much. And so we're staying there a lot. And I'm like, we weren't really motivated. Like the jet skis are like a few steps away. And why would we go anywhere? And finally, I think Janet to this day, finally, she's like, are you looking? And she would circle things in the paper and be like, are you looking? And I'm like, no. I mean, we didn't have kids. And finally there was enough pressure where she's like, you guys really need to find a place. Like, you can't just be staying on my couch on the weekends and stuff. And she didn't say it like that. She was nice. Mm-hmm. But Aunt Janet's very smart. And she has a way of just saying things. And I got the hint. I'm like, oh yeah, I think the welcome is wearing thin. Like they come downstairs and there's two people, a nephew and his wife sleeping on your couch. Happy to do it a few weekends, and they were happy to. The entire summer, that's a bit of a stretch. And these are very giving people. I really appreciate that. So thank you to this day, Janet, for letting us stay. And I realize now what that felt like for you. So thank you. So we've been on the other side of this, and sometimes you just don't realize the impact you're having. We were young and dumb, and we were like, oh, we're just enjoying the lake, and this is fantastic. But we didn't realize we're doing it on their dime because they're paying for stuff. Eventually, they're like, you need to buy dinner at least once a week, right? Like you guys buy the dinner once a week, and they had their daughters with them and stuff. So it was what a sacrifice for them to have done that for us. So I always feel for that. But you need to go in those things with like an expectation. And I don't think we ever set that on either side. Like it's a month, it's 6 weeks, then you need to do something. So we eventually did. I mean, we eventually moved out. We just moved down the block so we could still go use the jet skis. So we weren't that far away. But in this case, what a sacrifice. Now, does it say if the homeowner, do they have kids?
Yes, they have one kid.
They have one kid. So that changes the equation too.
They have one kid, and the brother has 4 kids. With a wife. So
I'll tell you, kids change the equation so when your mom and I when it was just your mom and I, when we had places of our own, we did at different times that my sister, her brother, we've let various people stay, and then their spouses and things. No kids were ever involved. So it's a little easier because, whatever they're involved in or doing, it doesn't really affect, I don't have to worry about kids seeing something or hearing something or being influenced or whatever that might be different than what I want them to see.
But I will say, it's a 3-bed, 2-bathroom house.
That's not very large.
For the wife, the kid.
That's a good size house, but not for that many people.
The main person, the mom, the brother, the wife, and 4 kids.
Yeah.
That's 10 people staying in a 3-bedroom house.
Well, and do what my in-laws did. So we had to stay with them for a few weeks. We stayed with them one summer. It seems like we were staying with different people. We were still looking for a place. We'd moved back to Fort Worth and needed a place. And it was the 2 of us. It was also her sister and husband, their 2 kids. And then it was, I don't know remember if her brother was, I think her brother was still there. So we had this, it was 3-bedroom, but it was a small house. You had a whole lot of people there. And what they did was we didn't have a bed. We had a sleeping bag. It was very smoky. It was and her dad would literally walk around in his underwear. And so eventually we wanted to move out. It's like, we need space. We can't find privacy. So we felt the need to move out. We always appreciate the graciousness. So I think there's a point where you have graciousness, right? But you do need to set expectations up front. I think that's the difference.
Oh, yeah.
With both people, with everybody, and say, hey, happy for you to move in. What do you think this is going to be 6 weeks? And this reminds me of A Christmas Vacation, Randy Quaid's character, right? And he's like, they're like, how long are you staying or whatever? And he's like, till January or whatever. He knocks over the whole thing.
He's like
when we leave
in 1 month,
when we leave next month, and he's like, he loses his drink there. And when we leave next month, it's a bit. So expectations up front. And I don't think it's rude to ask and just say, hey, I'm glad to have you here. We're happy to help. How long do you think this is going to be? And because if it goes beyond that, and then having the conversations gets close, it's like, hey, are things getting close for you? Because I'm just going to be honest with you, it's a bit of an inconvenience for us now, and it's becoming more of an inconvenience. Honest conversation, it's tough.
Yeah.
And you know what I feel? If family gets upset by that honest conversation, okay, maybe you'll move out.
Right?
Maybe it's you're going to hold that against us. We let you. The funniest thing to me is you'll let somebody live with you for 6 weeks or 2 months or 6 months in this case. You go have a conversation, all of a sudden it's on you. Like you're the bad guy. Oh, I'm kicking them out, and then they'll leave and be all upset. Well, you're kicking us out. But I let you live here 6 months. Yeah. Where's the grace in the things?
I will say the wife is pushing back on kicking them out. That's Oh
yeah, the wife's pushing back. So it's tough. It's her family. Tough. She probably wants to take care of them. Sounds like they've done well in life.
Sounds like the brother needs some help.
They've created a stable situation, and now others have come in, and especially with the brother needing help and the things he's going through. Oof.
That's a very tough situation.
So I wanted to talk about this because we did this. We had the opportunity to probably take in some other family members that were struggling, having some issues. but their struggles kind of went beyond into other types of substance abuse and things. And quite frankly, we had some trust issues. And so even though we had the accommodations, we had a nice house, we had a big house, we could have taken more people. We had you two kids.
Yep.
And that's a tough choice because your mom and I both grown up seeing abuse, having been abused ourselves, having been through those situations, and it was close family members in some cases or people that were close to us. And it made us more afraid because it's unavoidable that at some point we're going to be out of the house and our kids are going to be there. And then these people who are our guests are going to be there and alone with our kids in the house. And how much do you trust them? And you want to trust family, and that's part of the issue, but we just had trust issues. Mm-hmm. And so we had to make decline. Now we'd offer other help, like, can we pay for something? Can we help in other ways? But we just can't. With our kids here and knowing what you're going through, it's just not a good match. And I know there are other people out there that could do this. I think you're really brave. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But for us, we just felt like the safety of our kids and family came first. And we just weren't going to subject them to that. So I feel for that dad. If he knows that guy's having troubles. Now, is that a daughter or a son that lives with him?
It doesn't say.
Okay, because it doesn't really matter too much. You worry about both kids. But just having seen so much and having seen what happens, and it's removing that opportunity to have them alone with your kids. And I wish things could be more trusting. I wish we were more trusting, but that's just not the way we grew up, right?
Yeah.
We saw what happened, and I know a lot of you grew up with great circumstances, and we did not, right? We saw the abuse, we saw the things, and personally experienced it, so it made us lose trust. But we did offer in other ways. We wanted to provide help in other ways. We just couldn't provide what they needed, and in a lot of cases, it was they had done all these things. Right, they had lived their lives in a certain way, and then they were kind of looking for that additional help. They weren't going to change. They weren't going to do anything different. But your mom and I, have debated incessantly, and we get up on the same page because what we end up with is the outcome of number one, protect our kids, and then everything else is after that. Let's see how we can make this work, and then we eventually came to that we can't protect our kids enough this way.
Well, I think the original poster had they are not overreacting because I feel like they've created a safe space, but now you have to take care of 10 people who aren't paying you. That's a lot more money instead of just 3 people. So I would definitely say talk to your wife, try to get on the same page, and if you're not, ooh, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for you, but
that's money they could be spending on their kids.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
now they're spending it on this other family. And great, we're happy to do that too and spend money on family and help out. But at some point when it reaches that level and you're like, wow, I'm kind of spending a lot of money and time, and I need to be spending on my own family, right? Like taking care of my immediate family. When that starts suffering, like if your kid can't go to something because you've had to pay for something else, then it's like, oh, you're having an effect. And the one thing your mom and I always said was, we're not going to allow others to have an effect on our family. Yeah. We're going to protect it. So let me know if you feel the same way.
But definitely not overreacting.
Not overreacting.
I think you're in your right to say, because you should protect yourself and your kid.
And you should feel, you should be able to have honest, transparent conversations with your wife and more directly with that brother and that mother, and tell them the situation, how it's affecting you. If they react negatively, that is their problem. Right. That is not that tells you everything you need to know, that they were simply there to just take advantage of you. They should react with graciousness and say, I didn't know it was affecting you. I'm really sorry. We'll work on something. That's what should happen. But we know what'll happen is, why are you kicking us out? You're so mean. I was so mean the last 6 months. Like, what?
All right. Are you ready for our last
You want to do one more?
story?
Oh, well, good, because we're almost out of tea.
I know. I'm almost out of
You're almost too?
well,
We're not doing the glasses clink because you're going to break one of my Seattle mugs here.
So we're going back to the subreddit, Am I the A-hole?
Oh, this is a good one.
So the title is, Am I the A-hole for banning my sister from family parties because of her attitude towards kids?
Banning my sister from which parties?
Family parties because of her attitude towards kids.
What kind of attitude does she have?
Let's find
Well,
out.
that kind of depends. What level is this attitude?
Let's find out.
All right.
I am a 41-year-old man.
41.
I am the oldest of 5. My
Okay.
sister, Vera, 31-year-old woman, is the third child.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents are long dead. I don't think you need to add that, but okay. Now my sister was always the quiet one. She never interacted with us much as a child. Instead, she spent most of her time in her room, reading. She barely spoke when she did. She had different conversation topics. She was gifted, I get it, but we were kids and got bored when she talked, so we just didn't get along. That's kind of
Kind of a backstory there,
weird.
isn't it?
Yeah. Fast forward, Vera now works optimizing administrative processes for big companies.
Okay.
She's very
Authoritarian? Is that authoritative?
Authoritative. I can never say
Authoritative.
that word. Authoritative. Strategic and overconfident. Even her boyfriend would not take a business or financial decision without
What
consulting
does this
her
have
first.
to do with her attitude?
Right? Because he's convinced she's the holy grail of management. I get it.
Maybe she is.
She's good at what she does,
Yeah.
has a big salary.
Good for her.
And has good connections. But she's just a bit much.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm reading immediately, jealousy.
Well, it seems like jealousy, doesn't it?
One point here is that Vera is the only sibling who has no kids, and apparently her boyfriend got a vasectomy a few months ago.
Okay.
Good for him. Okay. This poster is so weird. What are they?
I'm lost. Like,
Why are they saying all this?
okay.
Thing is, when we gather on our I can't talk today.
That's okay.
When
Keep
we-
going. You're doing good.
When we gather at our childhood home, all my siblings bring along their kids. Kids are kids. They are loud and like to play. They
Yeah.
are sensitive too. Vera doesn't seem to understand this. She greets the kids from a distance, never hugs them,
Okay.
and if one of them comes to her, she will keep them at arm
So what?
length. Will be polite, but way too serious and somehow cold with them.
Okay.
Neither my siblings nor me like this, or the way she will
Tough.
refuse to do uppies with the toddlers,
Okay.
or just refuse to play along with the older kids who want to make questions, or just talk like kids do. Let alone will watch the kids even for 15 minutes, would not ask more from her.
No. I've not detected an issue here so far.
Yeah. Anyway, her behavior got worse after the last family gathering. She brought along her laptop because she had work to do.
Good for her.
And one of the kids dropped it accidentally, damaging
Why
the
did the
screen.
kid have the laptop?
She went totally ballistic and demanded my youngest sister,
Yeah.
who is a single mom living on welfare at the moment, paid the repair. After some reasoning, she dropped the subject, but then she proceeded to stay even further away from the kids.
Good.
Hence, I spoke to my siblings and concluded it was best if we didn't invite her over for
Probably
the
not,
next
yeah.
gathering. That was this weekend. I knew she would see the photos on Instagram, but I so hoped she would see
What-
how her attitude has
Okay.
isolated her and would learn a lesson.
Boy.
Boy,
What the-
I was wrong. She sent me a short,
Yeah.
dead cold message asking why she wasn't invited. I told her the reason and told her we expected her to behave like a member of the family if she wanted to be
Nah.
treated like family.
Nah.
She responded, okay, and proceeded to block us everywhere. Not only her boyfriend too. Apparently, she also blocked other members of our family who
Okay.
proceeded to send angry audios and messages to me and my siblings about it. Am I the a-hole? Just wanted to keep the kids on a friendly environment and expected her to be an adult.
No.
She's acting like the most adult one there. I'm sorry.
She doesn't have kids?
Yeah, she doesn't have kids.
Okay. So that happens. And we've had people over with you guys and that didn't have kids. And we never had expectations they would play with you, interact with you, do anything with you. Now, it's a little different. It's a family member, but we've never had expectations of family members or others. I mean, it's our kids. If they want to play with you guys, cool. If not,
Yeah.
I never took offense to that. Like, you guys are kids. Like, there's no expectation. I think she's, there's some miscommunication that occurred,
Oh, yeah.
right? So we know that instead of just not inviting her, why not call and say, hey, or Nicole, go face to face. We're going back to this face to face thing. Go face to face and say something like, we're noticing that when you're at our gatherings that you're not interacting with the kids. Is this not fun for you, or do you still want? I mean, like, do you want to have the family gatherings, or maybe we should do an adult gathering with you once a month or something? Do the kids make you uncomfortable, or like if this isn't a good situation for you, it's like it won't hurt our feelings if you don't come. We just want to make sure you're happy too. And if she's like, no, it's fine. I love it. Maybe she'll say that. I love hearing the kids in the distance. I personally don't want to interact. Cool. Then interact with the kids. I will say, fine.
From what this person has said,
yeah,
it sounds like she's neurodivergent.
Could be.
And maybe she just doesn't show her emotions. Because I get that. I don't really do that. Maybe she's overstimulated by the kids and she doesn't really want that. But she loves the kids.
That can be. She loves the kids and shows it in her own way.
Yeah. And I feel like this guy, and someone mentioned it in the comments, it's giving misogyny.
It is a bit weird. Let me tell you, growing up, though, we had one grandmother that loved us, hugged us. She would hold us close. We interacted with her all day long. We stayed with her. We sat at the adult table. In fact, we got fed first, and then the adults would eat after us. We were prized. Then I had another grandmother. So we start talking about Sybil in this case, who was highly educated. I didn't know that she ever appreciated kids or loved kids. And we were expected to be at a distance. We were sent off to a playroom and played on our own a lot. In fact, we were often locked in there. That's probably not good. But, she didn't want to interact with us in the same ways, and that's okay. Now, locking us up, that was probably an issue. But, yeah, she probably shouldn't have watched us ever. I think she just did it out of necessity or maybe as a requirement. But we did not interact with her, and it was just different. And I don't think anybody took offense. And she was our grandmother. So the two grandmothers interacted with us differently. We knew that as kids. It's like there were different expectations. But the family never went and said, so you got to lift the kids up and hold them and play with them. And some people are uncomfortable with kids. It's okay. She can be herself. Leave her alone. Yeah, just talk, not talk to her and say, look, instead of just not inviting her, saying, hey, we're going to have another get together and I want to let you know, but we're thinking that maybe you don't want to come, or if this isn't awkward, maybe this isn't the best situation. Let's talk about it. How are you feeling about it? Because if you're better not coming, then that's good with us too. But if it's not going to work and it's feeling a little awkward, or even if you're not going to invite her, just tell her like, hey, we've decided we're just not inviting you this time. But own the decision, communicate the decision, be transparent, and deal with it then. Because where you're at now is, we're going to block each other on social media, and now in their heads they're making it much bigger than it was, right? They're creating these scenarios. Just talk. So maybe you have the conflict and you talk and you have a conflict. At least you had the conflict. You know where each other stands. You're not blocking each other. And be like, hey, I still love you, sis, but this isn't working for me the way this interacts. I'd rather not have you there. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And if she says, well, that really upset me, then you can say, look, your behavior's just a little odd. Like, why don't you pick the kids up? We expect that in kind of our families, and that she could explain it. So there's something going on. Maybe she's nervous, and she could be like, hey. And
I will say, sometimes in these stories, people leave stuff out.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So I'm sure there's something that we do not know. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's a reason why she doesn't like kids or something.
So the point of the story was like, am I an a-hole?
Yeah.
Right? So I would say yes.
Yeah, you are the a-hole.
Yes, you are the one. Be transparent. It's a jerk move to just block people without talking to them.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to ghost you. Okay, really? You don't have enough
I think
courage?
She blocked them.
Oh, yeah.
But
well, she probably didn't know what was going on. Like,
same thing, all of a sudden, I'm not invited.
I'm not part of the family?
Yeah, right?
Like,
I would
you're not going to talk to me about it?
Terrible,
It's happened in our own families where things will happen and somebody won't communicate that, and then you do feel left out when you find out later. It's like, oh, well, we weren't invited.
Yeah, I wanted to come.
I wanted to come and be a part of it. And they're like, and then, when you have that conversation, they're like, oh, I had no idea you enjoyed this. You just always seemed miserable.
And also, it seems like kind of wild because they talked about the laptop. Like, are your kids just running around like crazy and touching people's stuff?
So I will say kids do that these days. They didn't do it when I was growing up.
I know. I would have
gotten smacked. You don't smack them these days.
No,
obviously that's not done. You wouldn't ever do that.
I have
but-
seen that Gen Z parents, my
Yeah.
generation, are using more Gen X
I'm not sure we got it
ways.
right.
but they're, instead of like gentle parenting,
Yeah,
where it's like
yeah.
you let them do it,
Yeah.
you're like, you lay the law down.
Yeah, and we did with you guys. It was
Yeah.
like, don't put your finger in a socket. It's going to
I
hurt.
know,
Right?
yeah.
Don't stick it in the electric socket. We had some blocked, and it was like, don't do that. And you start to do it. Like, no, you're not going to do that, right? Like
Yeah.
we're going to be, oh, let's talk about the socket and its feelings and how you feel about the socket, and
You have to be
this
very
is a bad
firm.
thing, and you're not going to want to do. No, it's like, no, don't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we
just
were
it just
direct.
feels like maybe control your kids a little bit. Tell them to not touch people's stuff.
So maybe she could have communicated that and said,
yeah.
hey, when I'm there, I feel like your kids are a little wild and out of
Yeah.
control, and that's a problem for me. And if you can't come to a common ground, be like, okay, well, then we'll just get together without the kids. And I've done that with friends before.
Of
We get
course,
together.
yeah.
I've had some friends where I'm like, hey, we're going to dinner, but could you not bring your kid? Like,
Yeah.
we're going to a steakhouse. I won't say who. They'll know who they are. But we were going to a steakhouse, and their kid's fine, but it could be a little annoying sometimes. But every kid's annoying when you get this age, I think. Unless they're your own, right? Like my own kids. But I flat out just said, that was the expectation. I said, hey, we're going to this really high-end steakhouse. We're going to have a nice meal. We want you guys to come. Please don't bring your kid.
Yeah.
Like I didn't beat around the bush on it, because I didn't want to be like, waiting at the restaurant. Are they bringing them? Are they coming? Right? Like, no. And then if they chose no, if they said no, well, we're going to, if our kid can't come, we can't. I'd be like, cool, that's fine. Make a choice, right? But at least it was up front and honest. So
I will say a lot of these Reddit stories are just lack of communication.
yeah,
Just communicate.
in general, that's where human conflict and we can kind of head toward the end of the podcast with that, because we
Yeah.
were talking about war and conflict and what happens at every level of human interaction is you see when there's miscommunication or no communication, then stories get made up.
They do,
And
yeah.
things end up being way worse than if you had just gotten together and said, hey, I'm feeling this way. How are you feeling? Don't expect that just because you get together that you're going to get the result you want.
Yeah.
But
right.
at least you've gotten together and gotten it out there. You may not get the result, but avoiding it is not a great strategy.
That's not.
Right? Because it eventually something's going to happen. Things happen. I would much rather, and it's hard to do. I get it wrong. I have, but I would much rather be direct and say, here's how I'm really feeling about things.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hurt people's feelings. There is that.
Yeah.
We don't want to hurt feelings, but in some cases,
You just have
It's
to
like-
speak up a little bit.
just have a conversation with your sister. Like, and don't make it a thing. Like, just hey, here's how we're feeling. How are you feeling? Respect that, and then maybe she'll come clean and be like, yeah, I'm feeling like the kids are bad out of control, and be like, well, that's the way we raise them. So
Well, also, we have to take into account this guy is 100% feeling jealous of his sister.
it feels like it.
And
Well,
that's not how it should be. You should be proud of your sister.
if you got to bring the laptop to the family thing, maybe don't go to the family thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
Yeah, and don't bring. I'll just say, and maybe
Don't-
she didn't know.
maybe
don't take
not.
an expensive
Yeah,
laptop
do
around
not.
kids. Like that's just a thing, right? Kids are kids. If it's there, they're gonna touch it.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
don't have an expensive laptop around kids. And
Yeah.
maybe she didn't know that. Maybe she wasn't aware. But that she does have to take some of that ownership. Right?
She
Like-
does,
like,
yeah, 100%.
If you're sticking around kids,
they're going to
kids
do
are kids.
something to it.
they're gonna do stuff to it. But
Like,
I know growing
always
up,
put your phone in your pocket if you don't want kids going through
we didn't
it.
touch anything.
Yeah, right?
We knew the consequences, so we didn't touch anything. But,
Yeah.
And I think at a country level, you start thinking at larger levels, the miscommunications just get amplified. And we could go a long ways in just sitting down, and this goes back to the very beginning, sitting down face to face as leaders and having a conversation. Now, it may not end the way we want it to, but at least we know where we stand. And where you stand is where you should stand. You shouldn't waffle. Shouldn't go back and forth,
Yeah.
right? Should be this podium where you're going back and forth like a jack in the box.
Yeah.
Giant orange jack in the box, right? Like we're just going to waffle. No, that's a ridiculous way to lead anything. Businesses, countries, families.
So you're the a-hole. Talk to your sister. Say you're proud of your sister.
Yeah.
That's it.
And get back. Life is short.
It is
Families
short.
are special. Love your families.
Love your family.
There you go.
Yeah.
And with that, pull up
With
a
that,
chair.
pull up a chair
We're gonna
very
very
carefully.
carefully clink.
Yay.